guys, how are we doing? I'm at home today because Liz is getting on a plane again, and hopefully my cell signal works well today. Anyway, what I wanted to show you guys is a really fun new project I've got, but it involves sewing curved seams out of flannel, and I don't want that to scare people. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Of course, my sewing room is a disaster because that's my life right now. It's backwards because I'm in selfie mode. Isn't this cute? It's a cute little flannel car quilt. And the kits come with the cars and the wheels pre-cut, pre-fused. So that's fun. Plus the whole kit's like $80 or something. It's really inexpensive. Anyway, I want to show you guys how I do curves and how I do curves with flannel because it's really not that much different. So, step one, you got your templates in the pattern. I just photocopied mine on freezer paper because freezer paper is awesome. It's nice not to have my paper move around on me. So that's all I did because this is a big template. It took more than one page, so washi tape to the rescue. Okay, so when I cut this, cutting with a template can scare people. Okay, for like these straight lines, that's the easy part. We just use our ruler. I'm gonna line my ruler up. Trying to line the ruler up with the edges is hard. So I line the 1/4 inch mark on the ruler up with the 1/4 inch little dashed line on the template because that's easier to see. Okay, so that's how I cut the straight seams. Because why not? I have a little teeny tiny cutting mat. Okay, same thing here. Line it up on the 1/4 inch hash, straight seam. Now, to cut the curve, that's the scary part, right? You can use a ruler and have it guide you as you go along here. You can use scissors, or I've done this a lot. I'm just going to freehand it and go with it. But I have a lot of people who this makes them very nervous. What you'll notice I'm doing here, this is why I'm using a little small cutting mat. I'm actually rotating my mat because the hardest curves to cut are inner curves. Outer curves are easy. Inner curves are harder. So because inner curves are hard, if I can do it on a little tiny mat like this that I can rotate the mat, it makes it so much easier. Okay, now I'm back onto a straightaway here. Line it up if I can, and go. The other, the block I'm making is this orange one here, except I'm doing it in green because I already made the orange one. Did my heater just kick on? Guys, it's the weirdest spring. So once I cut that out, I peel off the freezer paper. I have my fabric and I have my template ready to use again. But now I've got to cut my little one because that's the one we're going to start with. When we're building these blocks, you're going to go smallest pieces first and work to the big one. Don't go the other way around. You can. It does work out. It is harder. Just because it's awkward. Okay, so again, this is a nice outer curve. It's easy. I'm just going to follow along. I don't mean to say it's easy as a way to tear down anybody. Just slow and steady, okay? I cut it. Great. But for a long time when I was first learning to cut curves, I took a ruler, not like this ruler because this is a Quilter Select, which means it's not slippery, which is awesome, except it's not slippery. So when I want my ruler to move with me, I will take one of my other small rulers that is kind of slippery and use that as a guide. but I always like to line it up with the 1/4 inch dashed mark inside rather than the black edge on the outside, because the black edge, it's hard to see. It's hard to see if it's totally lined up on the outside. It's way easier to see this line on my ruler lined up on the other line, okay? So we've got that cut out. Excellent. Now, your templates almost always will have a little marking in there indicating what the center is. If it's an odd shape, please by all means mark it before you get rid of your paper template. We are doing half curves in this case. So the way to find the center is to fold it in half. Okay, I fold it in half, I pinch, get a little finger press there, take a pin, stick it in. I marked the center. Okay, the piece we're going to attach to it is our black road piece. I'm going to find the center of this one as well, fold it in half, finger press, put a pin in it. That's how we find the center. I'm going to go ahead and mark the center on the other side because that's our second seam. Might as well while it's here and small. If you forget to do it now, no big deal, because you can always fold it in half again. Okay? All right. So when we're sewing curves, there are 3 spots that we care about the most. Okay? We want to start with matching centers. Okay? So I line up those 2 pins with each other. I pull one out. See this pin I marked on the outside? It's nice to have it because I can have it kind of angled toward that point, because it's really easy to be up here and see like, oh no, look, I'm all centered. And see this right here? Not centered. So it's nice to have that marked so you can be centered all the way through. And once I have that, I will pin those 2 together. You'll notice I kind of double pin it, and that's because I don't want this to go anywhere. It's too easy for it to wobble on me. Okay, so I do that one, and then the next things I'm going to do is I'm going to match up the edges. Nice straight lines, okay, like any other normal seam. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now I'm going to tell you to sew right here. This might be the scary part, okay? So what I want you to do is lay it down flat. When I sew curves, I like the bulk to be on top. A lot of people will want to sew it like this because they can see the curve nicely. I don't like to sew it like this, and that's because I can't control what the crap is going on over here, okay? So I sew like this. And what I'll do is I'm not going to worry about the whole curve yet. I'm just going to worry about this first section right here. And I just kind of put my fingers in there and make it work. Now, some people right here, and if this is you, that's fine. They're like, okay, I got it. And even the instructions for this pattern say to do this. Pin the heck out of it. Totally fine. If you want to, great. I don't. And that's because I think it can really cause problems. So I just kind of put it there. I use my fingers to hold that in place. This is a small curve. I'm not sewing a 16-inch circle. And if I was, I'd be using more pins. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tuck this underneath. Start sewing, remove my pin. A stiletto is your best friend when sewing curves, okay? Because it can be your finger way up here when your finger is a little too thick to fit in there, plus don't sew your finger. But it gets to be your finger right there at the tip to keep there from being folds. Now once I get to the center, I'm going to pull my pin out because I don't sew over pins. My needle is down, and this is when I'm going to care about the second half of that curve, okay? So I kind of pull all my fabric toward the center. I want to be careful that I'm not pulling it over here toward me, because if I'm pulling it toward me, I can really distort things. All that extra bulk needs to be going to toward the point here, toward the middle of what would be a circle, okay? And I'm going to kind of distribute. Again, I use my stiletto. It's my best friend. And I just kind of go. And then I get to my end, and I'm done with that one. I gotta grab another leader ender, because y'all know me, and it's a compulsion. Plus, I gotta make these cute little crisscross blocks for this quilt anyway, so might as well sew those together while I'm here. Flannel can be a little bit stretchier, so I do find that I'm pinning a bit more than I normally do. Yes. Okay, I just took out my center marking. My bad. Okay, another beauty with curves. Doesn't matter which way you press. Doesn't matter, not even a little bit. You can press in, you can press out. When I'm doing a whole quilt with curves, I will alternate how I'm doing them so that I can nest those seams, which is awesome. Sorry, the video's flickery. But this is flannel. It's Maywood flannel, so it's awesome. They came up with this cute new juvenile flannel line with these fun, bright colors, which flannel has been missing. It's either baby or primitive. So I love that Maywood made these, because Maywood makes the best flannel. And now I have the best flannel in fun, bright kids' colors. Or grown-up people colors. Grown-ups like bright colors. I mean, my wall is blue. So, yeah. Oh, I didn't turn my iron on. Luckily, this bugger gets hot quick. So I can press this however I want. For the sake of this project, because it's flannel, I'm actually going to press open. And that's fine. No problem. Not a big deal. Okay. So I kind of have that pressed. Not great, but it's not a finished block yet, and I can move on to the next piece without worrying about it. But I am going to press this. Other one. Sorry, my pressing that's like right below where the camera is, so you can't see what I'm doing. I mean, I guess I could angle it down. Anyway, not super hot, but pressed open. Okay, because I pulled my pin out, because I do things like that. Fold it in half. Again, find the center. Okay, I'm gonna finger press it a little bit, grab a pin, stick it in. And then I'm gonna grab my other piece here. Again, fold it in half, find the center. One thing to remember when you're working with curved piecing is where things need to line up just right is not on the edge of the fabric. It's where we're making our seam. It's 1/4 inch in, okay? So if you're like, oh, I'm kind of having to stretch this fabric to make it fit. Yeah, you should, okay? Because where we need things to be just right for it to match up is 1/4 of the way in from the edge. So if I were to like take my template here. Sorry, I already fused it to the black, so it's stuck on there. And I put this inner template here. They don't fit, y'all. They don't fit. And they're not supposed to. If they fit, we'd have a problem. Okay? But if I overlap them to where this matches up here, they fit at 1/4 inch in. And that's what matters. Okay? They need to fit there. So don't stress that they don't match up just right. They're not supposed to. They need to match 1/4 inch in. All right. So I've matched these two seams, or I've found my centers. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to match up these centers. Now, this green piece right here is way bigger than this black piece here. Now, again, I want to make sure, see these points, that they're pointing at each other, that this isn't like way over here or something. I want them straight on, okay? But even though this green piece is way bigger, and as piecers, I don't know, maybe you guys are, maybe I'm the weird one, but when I'm piecing, I like the little piece on top. So like if I'm taking this piece that I just did, that's 2 pieces together, and I'm adding the next square, like instinct, right? We put the little square on top and put the big one on the bottom when we sew it, right? So instinct would be to sew it like this, little piece up. We want the big piece up, okay? And that's, again, because this way we can control the bulk. We can control that. If you do it the other way, it does work. You are more likely to get pleats. Okay, so, maybe it's the control freak in me. I'm like, no, I gotta control it. I have to manage the bulk. But it really does work better. I've done it both ways many, many times. So, I promise my preference isn't just something to say. Okay? All right. So, now if you're looking at this and you're like, guys, I can't. Like, this is too much to manage. Okay? This is glue. Okay? This is an applique glue that dries soft, so you can sew through it. A lot of times when I teach curves, we'll use a glue stick just to get comfortable with the concept of sewing seams, sewing curves, okay? But this is flannel, so the glue stick, not going to work very well. I'm going to show you this. So what you're going to do is put dots of glue. I'm sorry, you probably can't see this terribly well. I'm going to put dots of glue along the seam here, okay? And then I'm going to place my seam. And I can kind of move it around a bit. Okay? But, guys, I can glue that seam and prove to myself that the math works before having to sew it. So this is a friend. Okay, if you're looking to have a little bit of help with sewing curves, a glue stick is absolutely your friend. Fabric glue, it needs to be able to come out. This is the Seam Align Gentle Hold fabric glue. It's made for holding seams together. I've also really found I like it for wool applique because I can sew through it. It doesn't dry hard like my Roxanne's glue, which is also awesome applique glue, and I use it all the time. But if I need to be able to sew through it, like stitch by hand through it, this is what I go to. So it is the Acorn. Yeah, let me show you that up close and blurry and in selfie mode so it's backwards. Anyway, it's Acorn Precision Piecing Glue. Okay? Anyway, so I glued this first little section. It dries pretty quick. If I'm going to glue it, I'm going to go ahead and glue the whole curve. I'm not just going to do half at a time like I normally do if I'm just holding it down. But still, even with glue, okay, you'll notice I did dots. I put dots of glue like every 3/4 of an inch or so. So it's not super glued down everywhere, so my stiletto is still my friend. Okay, but that lets me keep the bulk out. It lets me keep my seam allowance where it should be. Gonna approach my pin, pull that out, and then I'm gonna do this side without any glue. Okay, I'm just going to, it seems like there's a lot there, but if I pick up this bulk and just lay it down, all of a sudden I can see that black fabric underneath. It's hard for you guys to see it because of the super bright light on this machine. And then I can kind of arrange it. If you want to put like 3 more pins in here, that's fine. Still, you're going to have to like fuss with it a little bit as you feed it through the machine. But I promise, curves, the more you do them, they get so much easier. And they make for some of the really, such fun blocks, you guys. I love them. When I saw this project from Maywood, I was super stoked because not only is it awesome kids flannel, but it's a super fun, like, you get to piece the car mat. That's awesome. I've got some bright orange minky to go on the back of this. It's not huge. It's like a 41-inch quilt. So it's a great, like, toddler quilt that can be both a quilt and a toy. And let him use it up, wear it out. It's going to be amazing. Okay, sorry. Leader ender, because that's how I roll. Even though I've got a new fancy machine with a fancy thread cutter, and I can't, guys, I can't do it. Okay, so again, I can press open, press to the side, whatever you want to do. You do you. I'm going to press open, which is a little harder with glue, but that's also why I do dots instead of a whole line of glue, because then I just have to tug at it every, like, 3/4 of an inch or every inch rather than, like, really tug to open the whole seam. And this is my little iron. When I'm done, I'll hit the whole thing with the big iron. I've got this big Adidas Sitar quilt behind you, in front of me right now, that I need to finish assembling. All the blocks are done. I need to finish assembling it today so that this can go on the design wall. But see? Super cute. Not that bad. If you ever want help with this, just holler. I'm at the shop first Friday night of the month, every month, except June. Because this next Friday, Sarita and I are going to be elsewhere. Liz already scheduled a vacation, so she doesn't get to come. But she's going on vacation, so I'm taking over Instagram for the next little while. And that means you guys all get to come to a retreat with Moda, with Sarita and I. Because we're going to go to a retreat hosted by Moda for shop owners. So that'll be fun. We'll send you pictures. And I have to finish all this stuff before I leave town for a week. Because, you know, I'm a mom with 4 kids and a small farm, and school gets out tomorrow. I actually have to leave here in a few minutes to go to 5th grade graduation. And then I get to help at field day. And I've got like 3 quilts to quilt over here and 2 to assemble before I leave town at like 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So that's going to be great. And, you know, I've got a cat that's sick that apparently I've got to, I know what the problem is now. I've got to get in with the vet. But this last week we actually lost 2 animals. We lost a cat and a sheep because poison hemlock sucks. And so do cars that drive too fast. So I'm like, we can't have another dead cat this week. Like, my kids are not going to survive another animal loss. It's been a rough week. So I'm going to go back to all the craziness. I will post a link to this kit and also to the products that I used so that you know what it is exactly. Freezer paper, there are 2 brands that are printable that I like. There's the Jill Finley Maker Paper and then Kim Deal's applique paper. The Kim Deal stuff is, I mean, it definitely sticks more. So if you're going to use it as a template that you're going to peel off over and over again, it's not the best because it really holds on, which is awesome for some things. And for other things, it's like, oh, good, I damaged my fabric. So for this, because it's flannel, I would probably go with the Maker Paper, the Jill Finley Maker Paper. Or just trace it on the freezer paper you have in your kitchen. I'm not sure where mine went. I couldn't find it, so I printed it. So, anyway, have a great day, everybody. I'm going to go to a 5th grade graduation and field day and get back to assembling a quilt or 2 and long arming like 3 more. So, if I seem crazy and out of it tomorrow at the shop, just smile and move on. It's okay. I'll survive. Anyway, have a great day. We'll see you later.